never gonna get away from the frizz. Understand what I'm saying? Like, oh my god, where am I supposed to go? Oh, if you know the dealio, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, I am Glamorous, aka Locked and Vegan. And if you don't know what I do, I'm everything about being locked and vegan. So that's why I'm doing 2 sets of 30-day challenges for loc tips and vegan tips that I've learned on my journey. So go ahead and like and subscribe for me, and make sure you turn on the little bell by the subscribe button so you know when I am posting each day of my 30-day of loc tips and vegan tips, so that we can explore our journeys together. Make sure you're commenting any suggestions for me or any tips that you're wanting to hear about or for your locked and vegan journey as well. Today is day 2 of my 30-day loc tip challenge. I'm super excited you came back for some more tips, and I'm super excited to give you tips for the rest of the month. Now let's get into day 2 loc tip. Tip number 2, please do not trim your frizz off of your locks. This kind of piggybacks off of day 1's tips, because I also posted a TikTok on the subject about cutting your locks. And I didn't realize so many people were actually trimming the frizz, not just like cutting your locks, like trimming the frizz off of your locks. I didn't realize so many people actually did that. And I've even seen some locticians do this to their clients where they're cutting the frizz off of their locks. Oh my god. Make sure you're with a professional, please. That is so dangerous for the future of your locks, because if you trim the frizz off of your locks, they will thin over time. The frizz on your locks is so extremely necessary, and this is kind of like what I was saying in my last video, where like palm rolling is probably a better idea for you if frizz gets on your nerves. I mean, you're always going to deal with frizz on your loc journey, even when you're mature. Like, you see, I'm more mature, but I'm gonna get frizz with my new growth because that's how locks grow. Specifically talking about the frizz on the ends, yes, you're gonna get more of that in your starter stages. The reason you're gonna get more of that in your starter stages is because your locks are forming. If you cut the frizz off of your locks while they're forming, then your locks will have nothing to use to grow. Your hair needs to learn that it's locking. If you start with like your fro or your curls, it's going to take some manipulation. That's what locks are. It's manipulating your hair to grow in these plaits. That's why in the beginning stages your hair is more frizzy at the roots, especially, or if you have like 4C hair, your roots might not grow with your locks right away, because your hair is used to just growing and being cool, but now you're forming it to grow in a certain box. And when there's frizz coming out of it, it goes along with the budding that your hair goes through, is that your hair is just trying to find its way. It's like, oh my god, where am I supposed to go? Oh, here we go. Now I'm wrapping myself, in the loc. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Am I explaining that correctly? Frizz is what strengthens your locks. I think some people think like, oh, it's my dead ends, that's what I'm cutting off of my frizz. If you feel like you're trying to cut off your dead ends, or you don't want your dead ends to be formed in your locks, let the dead ends lock in your loc, and as your locks grow longer, or once they start to form the way that they're supposed to, cut the ends, because that's where the dead ends will eventually go down to. A lot of people like do a big chop before they form their locks, so that they don't have to deal with the dead ends if they feel like their hair was messed up from dyeing or whatever the case. So if that's the case, then go ahead and cut your hair before you lock your hair. For me, I didn't have any problem with locking my dead ends, because once my hair got to a more mature and longer state, then I just cut the ends off. If you feel like you have dead ends sporadically throughout, then palm rolling is your best bet. Palm rolling is your best bet. You will see once your hair starts to lock how much it compresses. If you have coils or 2 strands twist, it'll start in that nice looking 2-strand or coil, really tight, really like long, and then your hair, it will start to get frizzier, it will puff up, it will shrink, as it's puffing up, as it's budding, as it's shrinking, you're gonna get a lot of frizz, you're gonna get a lot of movement from your hair, because once it puffs out, I mean, all of that's puffing out, you still need, because it's going to shrink back up and dense back up to form the locks that are mature. You have to let it run its course. You have to trust the journey. That's what we're all talking about trusting the journey and letting your locks do what they need to do. I love the stage when they get super puffy and super frizzy, because it's just like you're embracing that. It feels like kind of a mixture between the fro curls, where that was a whole bunch of frizz and just wild and crazy and out there, and a mixture of finally forming these locks. So you're gonna need every single portion of the hair that you cut out in your plait. Like it's all completely necessary. I feel like a lot of people also trim the locks because they want it to look neat, or they want it to like have this certain look, or maybe they just want it to maybe mature faster, or they, in their beginning stages, they want to look more mature. The whole loc journey is about embracing every single step of the way. Like once you get past that stage, you're gonna be like, oh my god, this was so worth it, because my locks are now thick and soft and luscious. I mean, you see how now I still have frizz coming off of my locks. You're never gonna get away from the frizz, baby. If frizz bothers you, don't get locks. If frizz bothers you, do not get locks. If you're trimming the frizz off of your locks way early in the process, honey, you're gonna be wasting your time. And it's crazy, I didn't realize how many people didn't know that. Do your research before you loc, please. Okay? And that's a part of why I'm doing this 30-day challenge, so that people can kind of look at these and figure out if locks are truly for them, if that commitment or the journey is something that they can go through. Also, it's different for everybody. My hair took like a year and a half, 2 years to actually loc, because my hair was so loose. My boyfriend's hair took a month, maybe 3. Don't rush the process by trimming the frizz off your locks, please. But thank you so much again for joining me on day 2, 30 days of Loc tips. And I will see you tomorrow for tip number 3. Don't mind the nails, don't look at the nails, don't look at them. I'm taking them off one by one.